Hey fam, what's up? I hope everybody's doing better than good and better than most, as one of my mentors, Mr. Les Brown, used to say. Probably still says it. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I am up here and jumping on the gram. Haven't spoken in a while on it. I would love posting the pictures and engaging with other folks, seeing what everybody else has going on in the world. But just with everything between the semester and all of these things, it's just been sitting back and watching everything happening, particularly as we're going into this election in the next few days or next few weeks, I should say. And I've been thinking and seeing about what's going on, in particularly with these Wolverine Watchmen and their attempt to overthrow the government, and at least the government of Michigan. And one of the things I've been hearing in a lot of these reports is that, and we all knew this, is that this is probably just the tip of the iceberg. Like, there are more plots going on out there. And don't get me wrong, I know this is not the first time that a militia group has plotted to overthrow the government in any way, shape, or form. I know that this is not the first time that has happened, but it doesn't mean that just because it's not the first time it has happened, that it's not worthy of analysis now. It is always important to understand why these things happen. And I don't know much about the Wolverine Watchmen outside of the fact that they are a militia group. I am not going to call them white supremacists yet, because I don't have that information yet. I understand factually that there can be a difference between a group that is a white identity extremist group and a group that can be just a militia group. There are black members of some of these white militia, or these majority white militia groups that are out there. But what I do know is that both of them are terrorists when it comes to dealing with the government. Or when it comes to dealing with people they don't like, period. Whether we're talking about white supremacists or whether we're talking about these militias who attempt to overthrow a government, both groups are terrorists. So we do know that these Wolverine Watchmen are militia people. The time will tell whether they are part of white supremacist groups as well, but you cannot make a strong argument that this has nothing to do with Trump's rhetoric. We can't sit here and say that, oh, these are just some guys who decided to take some things on their own, when you have a president in Trump who called for Michigan to be liberated. And it's not just Trump, it's Republican leadership in general, because from the top all the way down to local sheriffs, these people have, and there it's been documented that people like the Wolverine Watchmen have shown up at these rallies at the governor's doorstep to, and part of the groups that have been showing up armed and sitting in the House and all of that. They've been part of those demonstrations to liberate Michigan. And this is part of Trump's rhetoric. And at the time of this recording, we have seen Trump tweet almost 30 times and not a single mention about this. And we know that Trump and Barr knew about this before the common people knew. So rhetoric matters, words matter. And these people had, and we also know that there are former members, or I don't know if they're current members, with military experience in there. The way they were practicing tactics, like they did a dry run before, had plans to blow up bridges to get rid of people from off their trail. This was orchestrated, and a random person just can't do that off of watching television, which speaks to the way that some members of law enforcement are in cahoots, or even members of these same groups. Members of law enforcement and local politicians, they'll show up at different events that these people are planning. They'll cozy up to them, the barbecues, the picnics, and the like. And this is extremely problematic. This is not leadership. You can't say that, you can't swear an oath to be a leader for all people, and then you're showing up with people who have a desire or intention to overthrow a government, or on the white extremist side, to attack non-white people. And when we talk about hate crimes being up over 200% since 2016, the number one and two targets are black people, followed by people within the Jewish community. And then we have so many other groups, or transgender people, to people who are being attacked because of they're being accused of being COVIDed, and they present, quote unquote, as Chinese, stereotypically speaking. This is a serious problem. And the leadership from the top is not only not doing anything to stop it, but they are part of the problem. When you have a President Trump saying, stand back and stand by, when you have him, and then, he always condemns white supremacy randomly a little bit later at the end of a conversation, and then people will say, see, he condemned white supremacy. Well, we need actions. We need actions. We need legislation. And it's like Dr. King said, you can't You can't legislate morality, but you can regulate behavior. And this is a man who won't do that as long as these people like him. And I can guarantee you, when he's asked about it, if it has been proven that these Wolverine Watchmen are fans of Trump, he said, well, I don't know anything about them. They like me, and then that'll be it. It's similar to what he did with the Killer Rittenhouse in Kenosha, and he's done this on many issues. So the real question comes down to, where are you going to stand on this, America? What are you going to do? How are you going to speak up? How are you going to be an upstander and stop being a bystander to these actions that are going on? And if you are an upstander, how can we increase that a little bit more? Because we literally need all hands on deck. So as we go towards this next election, which we know already that we're going to see some form of violence, we're going to see some people refuse to capitulate, probably starting with the president on down. We need to be preparing ourselves. When I say preparing ourselves, I'm talking about knowing our legal means of challenging people who are going to be challenging us at the voting booths, getting registered to vote, making sure we know which politician is about what, donating financially to campaigns. If you can put yourselves in a position where you're healthy enough to go to some of these polling places and help out, do that. And if you have a platform, when I say a platform, I'm talking about anything you got like one follower somewhere, it don't matter, and you can use it to challenge hate in any way, shape, or form, you absolutely have to do that. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, we also know that people need to be in positions to be able to protect yourselves, because this is real. If they would go after the governor, I mean, she's if many of these militia members are white and, she's white, if they go after her, they'll go after anybody. And so people have to put themselves in positions, whether it's self-defense training, whatever it is, to be able to protect yourself, because there are some people out there who are going to take everything that Trump says literally, and Trump actually says some things literally as well that help create the problem. And so when you think about all of this right now, this is the group that got caught. There are going to be other people. I hope that security is really tight around people like Kamala, Senator Harris, and Biden and other people out there. But, my colleagues, people like, my friend Opal and other people out there in the Black Lives Matter movement and everywhere, everyone's got to be on blast. Everyone's got to be careful, because these folks are really coming for anybody and anybody at any time. And we have a government that's not going to do what it's supposed to do. Kudos to the FBI and the local law enforcement, but if it was up to people like Barr and Trump to go after these people, we have already seen from the whistleblower that Homeland Security wanted to play these people down because they do support Trump and have actually financially committed to his campaign. So they're not going to do it. I'm glad the FBI is acting independently, but so many resources have been diverted from this that their job, I'm sure, is also harder. And these local law enforcement officers who play the fence and are part of these groups, some of them who are part of these groups, and some of them who may not be part of them, may be on the fringe, but show up at these events that they're doing, you are part of the problem as well, and you need to go. And so really, at the end of the day, I'm calling for all of us to be safe, to be vigilant, and to be focused. These people need to be, I'm glad that these guys are going to most likely be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, the way it sounds. I'm glad that the governor is safe, but a lot of other people would have been in these people's path. And so let's condemn this wholeheartedly. Let's not wait for the president to give some type of lame reason or excuse for anything, because that's what he does. Let's respond with our vote, and let's get out there and show all of these ignorant terrorist groups that love is going to conquer all of this hate. But it's going to take all of us deciding to be an active upstander and not a passive bystander. Waiting on you. Let's go. Well, I'm not waiting on you, but we do need y'all out there to join us as well. Peace out.